Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and as always, I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Julia.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here again. Thank you for tuning in to learn and grow your English skills with us.
Today, we're going to talk about something that many English learners struggle with fear. Yes, that feeling of nervousness when you try to speak English in front of others.
Exactly, Jason. You might know the right words, the correct grammar, and even have a good accent, but when it's time to speak, suddenly your mind goes blank, or your voice starts shaking.
We totally understand that feeling. It's very common, and it doesn't mean you're bad at English, it just means you're human.
That's right. Even native speakers feel nervous sometimes when they talk in public. So today we'll explore why people feel afraid to speak English, and most importantly, how you can overcome that fear and speak with more confidence and joy.
By the end of this episode, you'll have some practical tips, mindset shifts, and daily exercises that will help you speak English more freely without that fear holding you back.
So, if you've ever felt shy, scared, or nervous to speak English, stay with us until the end. This episode is made just for you.
All right, let's dive in and start with the first part, why so many people feel afraid to speak English. So, Julia, let's start with the big question. Why do so many people feel afraid to speak English? I mean, even when they know the words, they still hesitate.
That's a great question, Jason. I think one of the main reasons is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners think, what if I say something wrong? Or what if people laugh at my accent?
Yes, that's so true. And sometimes, that fear can be so strong that learners stop speaking altogether. They keep waiting for the perfect moment when their English becomes perfect. But the truth is, that moment never comes unless you start speaking now.
Exactly. I've met many students who understand English very well. They can read, write, and listen, but when it's time to speak, they freeze. Their mind goes blank because they're so worried about being judged.
Right. And that fear often comes from past experiences. Maybe a teacher or friend laughed at their pronunciation once, or maybe they tried to speak and someone didn't understand them, so now they feel embarrassed to try again.
Yes, I've heard that story many times, but we have to remember everyone starts somewhere. Even the most confident English speakers were once beginners, too.
Exactly. You know, I remember when I was learning Spanish, I was so scared to talk to native speakers. I thought they would laugh at me. But most people were actually very kind and happy that I'd tried.
That's a great example, Jason. And that's something our listeners should remember too. People don't expect you to speak perfectly. They just appreciate that you're making an effort.
Absolutely. So, to sum it up, people feel afraid to speak English mainly because they fear mistakes, judgment, and embarrassment. But those feelings are completely normal. And the good news is, you can change them.
Yes, fear is not a sign of weakness. It's just a signal that you care about doing well. And once you understand where that fear comes from, it becomes easier to overcome it.
Exactly, Julia. And that brings us to our next part, the real cause of speaking fear. It's not just about language, it's something deeper.
So, Jason, we just talked about why many people feel afraid to speak English. But now, let's go a little deeper. What do you think is the real cause of that fear?
That's a really good question, Julia. I believe the real cause isn't just language ability, it's mindset. Many learners believe they must speak perfectly, and that belief creates pressure and fear.
Yes. When people think I must not make any mistakes, they start focusing on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. And that negative thinking grows stronger every time they hold back.
Exactly. Fear of speaking English is more about how we think than how we speak. When you worry too much about what others might think, Your confidence goes down, and your brain freezes even if you know the words.
That's so true. It's like your mind says, don't speak, it's safer to stay quiet. But staying quiet only keeps the fear alive. The more you avoid speaking, the stronger the fear becomes.
Right? So the real cause of speaking fear is not your grammar, not your vocabulary. It's your inner voice telling you that you're not ready or not good enough. But guess what? You are ready right now.
Yes, you don't need perfect English to express your ideas. You just need courage to start. Once you begin, your confidence will grow naturally.
Exactly, Julia. And in the next part, we'll talk about how you can change that mindset and start speaking English with more confidence and freedom. So now that we know fear comes from our thoughts, let's talk about something really powerful, changing your mindset about speaking English.
Yes, because your mindset is like the foundation of your confidence. If you think speaking English is scary or difficult, it will feel that way. But if you think of it as a fun way to connect and learn, everything changes.
Exactly. Instead of thinking, I'm afraid to make mistakes, start thinking, every mistake helps me learn. That small change in thinking can make a huge difference.
I love that, Jason. You know, one thing I often tell my students is, don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. Each time you speak, you're improving, even if it's just a little.
That's so true. And when you focus on progress, speaking English becomes less about fear and more about growth. You begin to enjoy the process instead of worrying about the result.
Yes, and remember, confidence doesn't come before you speak. It comes after you speak. So the more you practice, the more your brain learns, hey, this isn't so scary after all.
Exactly. So, the key mindset shift is this. Speaking English is not a test, it's communication. You're not being judged. You're sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your story.
That's such a great reminder, Jason. And once you start thinking this way, you'll see fear slowly fade away and your confidence will naturally grow.
Beautifully said, Julia. And up next, we'll share some practical tips you can start using today to reduce that fear and speak more confidently in English.
All right, Jason. Now that we've talked about mindset, let's get into something every learner wants to know: practical tips. What can people actually do to reduce their fear of speaking English?
Yes, let's get practical. The first tip is simple but powerful: start small. You don't need to speak for 5 minutes right away. Start with short sentences. For example, try saying out loud what you're doing. I'm making coffee. I'm going to work. This helps your brain get comfortable using English in daily life.
That's a great one. And here's another practice: speaking to yourself. Many learners think they need a partner to practice, but self-practice works too. You can talk to yourself in front of a mirror or record your voice and listen to it. It helps you hear your pronunciation and build confidence.
Exactly. And don't forget shadowing listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say. You can use YouTube videos, podcasts, or movies. It's a great way to train your mouth and ear at the same time.
Yes, and one more tip: focus on communication, not perfection. When you speak, don't worry too much about grammar or accent. Just focus on expressing your idea. Most people will understand you even if your grammar isn't perfect.
That's so true. The goal is progress, not perfection. The more you speak, the less fear you'll feel. So remember, start small. Talk to yourself. Shadow native speakers and focus on communication.
Exactly. These small actions, when done daily, can completely change how you feel about speaking English.
And in our next part, we'll talk about how you can build real confidence when speaking step by step. So, Julia, We've shared some great tips for reducing fear, but now let's talk about something every learner really wants: confidence. How can someone build real confidence when speaking English?
That's such an important question, Jason. Confidence doesn't come overnight. It comes from small, consistent practice. Every time you speak, even for 1 minute, you're training your brain to feel more comfortable in English.
Yes, exactly. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So, the first way to build confidence is to celebrate small wins. For example, if you spoke one full sentence in English today, celebrate it. That's progress.
I love that. And here's another tip: prepare before you speak. If you know you'll have a conversation in English, think about what you might say. Write down some key phrases or questions. When you're prepared, you feel more in control and fear goes down.
That's a great point. And I'd add this: surround yourself with English. Listen to English podcasts, read short articles, and speak a little every day. The more English becomes part of your life, the more natural and confident you'll feel.
Yes, confidence grows when English becomes familiar. So don't wait for confidence before speaking, speak to build confidence.
Exactly. Confidence isn't the result of being perfect, it's the result of being brave. Every time you speak, you're already winning.
Beautifully said, Jason. And in our next part, we'll talk about something that stops many people: the fear of making mistakes and how to overcome it. Jason, one of the biggest fears English learners have is the fear of making mistakes. Many people say, "I don't want to speak because what if I say something wrong?"
Yes, Julia, that's one of the most common fears. But here's the truth: making mistakes is a natural and necessary part of learning. You can't improve without them.
Exactly. Think about when we were children learning our first language. We made so many mistakes, but we didn't stop speaking. We just kept trying until we got better.
That's a great example. Adults, however, often feel embarrassed because they think mistakes mean failure. But actually, mistakes mean you're learning actively. Every time you make one, your brain learns what to fix next time.
Yes! Instead of thinking, "Oh no, I made a mistake," try thinking, "Great! Now I know what to improve." That small change helps you grow much faster.
And honestly, most people don't even notice your small grammar mistakes. They're more interested in what you're saying, not how perfectly you say it.
That's so true, Jason. Communication is more important than perfection. So don't let mistakes stop you, let them guide you.
Exactly. Mistakes are proof that you're trying, and trying is how you win.
Beautifully said. And coming up next, we'll share some daily practice ideas that can help you build confidence and speak English fearlessly.
All right. Julia, now that we've talked about overcoming mistakes, let's get into something really practical. Daily habits. What are some simple things learners can do every day to build confidence when speaking English?
Yes, daily habits make a huge difference. The first thing I suggest is self-talk in English. Every morning, try to describe your day out loud. For example, say things like, "I'm brushing my teeth," or "I'm going to school." It sounds simple, but it helps your brain think and speak in English naturally.
That's a great one. Here's another: record yourself speaking for 1 minute a day. Choose a topic, like your favorite food or weekend plans, and record yourself. When you listen back, you'll notice small improvements in your pronunciation and fluency.
Exactly. And don't forget about speaking with others. It can be online or in person. Join an English conversation group, use language exchange apps, or even chat with friends who are also learning. Speaking regularly keeps your confidence growing.
That's right. And one more: shadow native speakers. Listen to a short video or podcast and repeat what the speaker says. It helps with rhythm, pronunciation, and confidence.
Yes, these small daily practices, self-talk, recording yourself, speaking with others, and shadowing can really transform how comfortable you feel in English.
Exactly. The key is consistency. Just a few minutes every day will build your confidence over time.
That's right. And in the next part, we'll guide our listeners through a mini speaking activity they can try right now to boost their confidence instantly. All right, everyone, now it's your turn. Let's do a short and simple speaking activity together to help you feel more confident right now.
Yes. So if you're listening, find a quiet place, take a deep breath, and repeat after us. Don't worry about how you sound. Just speak with energy and confidence. Ready?
Repeat after me. I am not afraid to speak English.
I can learn and improve every day.
My mistakes help me grow.
I am becoming more confident every time I speak.
Excellent! How did that feel? Even saying these sentences out loud helps your brain build confidence and reduces fear.
That's right. The more you speak even short positive sentences like these, the stronger your English confidence will become.
Beautiful job, everyone. Now let's keep that energy as we move into something inspiring: how real people connect their confidence with real-life success.
Julia, you know, one of the most powerful ways to overcome fear is to see real-life examples. There are so many people who started speaking English hesitantly and now speak confidently because they practiced consistently.
Absolutely, Jason. I've seen students who couldn't speak a single sentence at first, but after small daily practices talking to themselves, shadowing, and speaking with others, they can now communicate fluently and even give presentations.
Exactly. And here's the thing, confidence in English can open doors in life. Jobs, travel, friendships, and new opportunities all become easier when you're not afraid to speak.
So remember, every small step you take in speaking English is not just about the language. It's about growing your confidence and creating real opportunities in your life.
Beautifully said, Julia. And now, let's wrap up our episode with some final words and encouragement for our listeners. And that's a wrap for today's episode on how to speak English without fear. Julia, it's been such a pleasure sharing these tips and exercises with our listeners.
Absolutely, Jason. Remember, everyone, speaking English confidently doesn't happen overnight, but with the right mindset, small daily practice, and courage to make mistakes, you can overcome your fear.
Yes, start small, keep practicing, and celebrate every little win. Your confidence will grow naturally over time.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you feel inspired to speak English without fear and take one small step today.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a comment about your favorite tip, and share this episode with your friends who want to speak English more confidently.
See you next time on the English Learning Podcast. Keep speaking, keep growing, and remember your voice matters.